If you've ever added raw sawdust to your soil thinking it will break down over time, you've probably already damaged your plants without realizing it. That's one of the most common mistakes I see, even among experienced gardeners. Sawdust doesn't just sit there, it actively pulls nitrogen out of your soil as it decomposes. That means weaker plants, pale leaves and stalled growth, even when you think you're doing everything right. I made this mistake early on in a raised bed where I had easy access to wood waste. The soil looked rich, but the plants told a different story. Growth slowed, yields dropped, and nothing responded the way it should. Fixing that didn't come from removing the sawdust. It came from learning how to convert it into something the soil can actually use. And one tool that helped me stabilize that process early is a proper worm composting setup. I use a 5-layer worm compost bin because it solves a very specific problem: incomplete nitrogen-draining material getting added back into the soil too early. With a layered system, you get fully processed castings that are stable and plant-ready. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. But what I'm about to show you goes a step further than traditional composting. This is why sawdust is a problem, and also a massive opportunity. Sawdust is almost pure carbon. That's why it's so slow to break down. Microbes need nitrogen to process carbon, and when they don't get it externally, they take it from your soil. That's the part most people don't understand. When you add raw sawdust, you're feeding microbes, but at the expense of your plants. But if you control that process before it reaches your soil, sawdust becomes one of the most powerful organic inputs you can use. So here's how I started turning sawdust into something better than compost. Instead of treating it like a passive material, I started preconditioning it. That means giving microbes everything they need up front. So the breakdown happens outside your planting zone, not inside it. The base mix is simple but precise. For every 10 kilograms of sawdust, I add a nitrogen source. That could be fresh grass clippings, manure, or even diluted urine. In my case, I've had the most consistent results using a mix of grass clippings and a small amount of animal manure. Then I add moisture until the mix feels like a damp sponge, not soaked, just evenly moist. But this is where most people stop, and that's why their results are mediocre. The real transformation happens when you activate the biology. I introduce a microbial starter. This can be finished compost, worm castings, or a liquid compost tea. That inoculates the sawdust with active organisms that begin breaking it down immediately. When I skip this step, the process takes weeks longer. When I include it, the pile starts heating within days. And here's the part you need to pay attention to. The pile doesn't need to be large. Even a small batch can generate enough microbial activity if the balance is right. Now here's what's happening inside that pile that most people never see. The microbes are consuming the carbon in the sawdust and converting it into stable organic matter. As they do this, they lock nitrogen into the structure instead of pulling it from your soil. This flips the entire equation. Instead of sawdust being a nutrient drain, it becomes a nutrient reservoir. In one test bed, I compared untreated sawdust against preconditioned sawdust. The untreated side showed yellowing leaves and slow growth. The treated side produced stronger plants and noticeably higher yields. That's not a small difference. It's a complete reversal. Let me show you how to get this right without wasting time. After mixing your sawdust, nitrogen source and microbial starter, pile it loosely to allow airflow. Oxygen is critical. Without it, you shift into anaerobic decomposition, which slows everything down and creates bad odors. I turn the pile every 3 to 5 days. Not excessively, just enough to keep oxygen flowing and redistribute moisture. Within 10 to 14 days, you'll notice a change in texture. The sawdust darkens, clumps together, and loses that dry, dusty feel. By week 3, it starts resembling rich, earthy material. That's your signal that it's ready for use or close to it. This is where it starts outperforming traditional compost. Because the material is finer and more uniform, It integrates into soil faster. It doesn't just sit on top, it blends into the root zone. In my raised beds, I apply it as a top layer about 2 to 3 centimeters thick, then lightly work it into the soil. Within a couple of weeks, the difference in plant response is clear. Stronger stems, deeper color, and more consistent growth. If you're getting value from this kind of practical method, subscribe to Husbandry. This is the kind of approach that actually improves results season after season. Now here's something most gardeners completely overlook. Particle size matters. Sawdust breaks down faster than wood chips because of its surface area. That's why, when processed correctly, it becomes available to plants much faster than traditional compost materials. In container gardening, I've used this method with great success. A small amount mixed into potting soil improves moisture retention and nutrient availability without compacting the soil. In hydroponic media beds, I tested preconditioned sawdust as a supplement. The results were subtle but consistent, better root health and improved microbial balance. That tells you this isn't just about soil, it's about how organic matter interacts with the system. There's one mistake you need to avoid if you want this to work. Using treated or contaminated wood. Sawdust from painted, stained or chemically treated wood will introduce toxins into your system. Always use clean, untreated material. I stick to hardwood sawdust whenever possible because it decomposes more steadily. Softwood works too, but it may require a bit more nitrogen to balance. And here's where this method becomes even more powerful, when you combine it with worm castings. After the initial breakdown, I sometimes feed small amounts of the pre-conditioned sawdust into my worm compost system. The worms finish the process, adding another layer of biological activity. The result is a hybrid material that's richer and more stable than either input alone. That's where you start seeing the real jump in performance. So what happens over a full growing cycle? The benefits stack up. Soil structure improves, water retention becomes more consistent, nutrient availability stabilizes, and plants respond with stronger, more predictable growth. In one season, I measured a significant increase in yield from beds where this method was used consistently compared to standard compost alone. Not because it's a miracle input, but because it's processed correctly. This is why most gardeners never get these results. They skip the preparation, they add raw materials and hope the soil will fix it. Sometimes it does, but often it doesn't. And when it fails, the plants pay the price. When you take control of the process before it reaches your soil, everything changes. At the end of the day, this isn't about sawdust, it's about understanding transformation. Raw materials are only as good as how they're prepared. When you align carbon, nitrogen, moisture, and biology, you create something far more valuable than basic compost. You create a system that feeds itself. Subscribe to Husbandry if you want more grounded, experience-based methods like this, and share this with someone who's still throwing raw sawdust into their garden and wondering why nothing grows the way it should. Because once you understand how to convert waste into real fertility, your entire approach to gardening changes.